Hello! Today we're going to talk about your past actions and states. For that reason, we can say that it's going to be about your habits, and we use used to and would. But we're going to learn how they differ in different situations. Let's start. Do you remember your primary school teacher? In fact, I do remember mine, as you see in the photo. I liked her a lot. I remember her kindness, her empathy, and her care and concern. Because she took time to listen to us and she stopped to ask us how we really were, and she also used some instances from her life. And her smiling face is the thing that remained in my mind a lot. Because first teachers are never forgotten. I know I'm not your first, but hopefully you won't forget me too. Because a teacher, as I see here, takes a hand, opens a mind, and touches a heart. We're going to listen to two people discussing their teachers. And I want you to take notes about the subjects each of them taught. Please take a piece of sheet and take your notes during this presentation and also the listening part. Let's start.
CD2, track 13.
Hey, do you remember Mr. Holsworth, the history teacher?
Oh, yeah, I think so. Yes, he was that short man with those terrible glasses. Oh, he was really boring, wasn't he? And we were always so naughty in his classes. We'd throw paper at him. And one time, some of the boys actually climbed out of the window while his back was turned.
Poor man. He used to shout so much he'd go bright red in the face.
Oh, what about Miss Matthews, the music teacher? Do you remember her? Oh, she was lovely. She used to play us Mozart and teach us songs from Africa. I think she used to live in Zimbabwe. Oh, I really liked her lessons. They were so relaxing and enjoyable. And she was inspiring. I wasn't particularly musical, but she got me listening to music.
Yeah, she was lovely. And so patient. Not like Mrs. Sharp, eh?
Oh.
You remember? The physics teacher. She was frightening. Oh, I didn't used to like her lessons at all. She used to make me sit at the front of the class, right under her nose, and ask me all the most difficult questions. And if you failed a test or forgot to do your homework, she would punish you. Oh, and what about... Do you remember Mr. Ford, the religious studies teacher?
Oh, yes. Oh, he was great.
He was so clever, wasn't he? He used to teach us all about different religions of the world, like Rastafarianism. And he was also interested in astronomy, so we'd learn about the stars too. He was very knowledgeable. Wasted on us, really.
Yes. And he never lost his temper, not even when we used to...
Alright, now let me hear your answers. Yep, Mr. Holsworth taught history, Miss Matthews taught music, and Mrs. Sharp taught physics, and the last one taught religious studies. Now we're going on taking notes because we'll listen to it again, and this time I want you to make notes about each teacher's good and bad qualities. Okay. Let's hear.
CD2, track 13.
Hey, do you remember Mr. Holsworth, the history teacher?
Oh, yeah, I think so. Yes, he was that short man with those terrible glasses. Oh, he was really boring, wasn't he? And we were always so naughty in his classes. We'd throw paper at him. And one time, some of the boys actually climbed out of the window while his back was turned.
Poor man. He used to shout so much he'd go bright red in the face.
Oh, what about Miss Matthews, the music teacher? Do you remember her? Oh, she was lovely. She used to play us Mozart and teach us songs from Africa. I think she used to live in Zimbabwe. Oh, I really liked her lessons. They were so relaxing and enjoyable. And she was inspiring. I wasn't particularly musical, but she got me listening to music.
Yeah, she was lovely. And so patient. Not like Mrs. Sharp, eh?
Oh.
You remember? The physics teacher. She was frightening. Oh, I didn't used to like her lessons at all. She used to make me sit at the front of the class, right under her nose, and ask me all the most difficult questions. And if you failed a test or forgot to do your homework, she would punish you. Oh, and what about... Do you remember Mr. Ford, the religious studies teacher?
Oh, yes. Oh, he was great.
He was so clever, wasn't he? He used to teach us all about different religions of the world, like Rastafarianism. And he was also interested in astronomy, so we'd learn about the stars too. He was very knowledgeable. Wasted on us, really.
Yes. And he never lost his temper, not even when we used to...
Alright, let's share the ideas with each other. The first one was boring and shouted a lot, and the next was inspiring, patient. As a music teacher, you need to be inspiring. And yeah, you can understand from her surname, she was frightening and strict. Actually, my physics teacher used to make me feel frightened too. And Mr. Ford was knowledgeable and patient because he taught all kinds of religions throughout the world. Okay, let's move on. Now we'll have a look at the audio scripts, and I want you to, alright, not underline, but find some examples of would and used to. Here you are. You've got about 30 seconds. Okay, let's look at the examples together. The first one, we'd throw paper at him, and he used to shout so much, and he'd go bright red in the face. As you can understand, go bright red in the face, it means see red, okay? And next is here, she used to play us Mozart, and she used to live in Zimbabwe. And I didn't used to like her lessons at all. She used to make me sit, and she would punish you. He used to teach us all about different religions of the world. And the last one, we'd learn about the stars too. Okay, what verb form is used after would and used to? Okay, you know that. We use bare form of the verb, right? Okay, now we'll learn the rule of it. First of all, we'll start with examples. We blah blah throw paper at him, she blah blah played us Mozart. You may not remember the audio script, but it's not important. I want you to give your importance to the verb, as you see here, throw and play. These verbs are both action verbs. And it's not important if we use used to or would. Both of them are possible for each. But look at the rule. We use used to and verb or would and verb to talk about which one in the past which don't happen now. Single actions or repeated actions? Okay, as you know, we use used to and would to talk about our past habits, which means repeated actions. The next two examples. She blah blah live in Zimbabwe, and I blah blah like her lessons at all. So we don't use, as you see below, lined, she would live is impossible, or I wouldn't like is impossible, because live and like are state verbs, and with state verbs I prefer using only used to. Okay. So, we only use which one to talk about states in the past? Yeah, you're going to prefer using used to and verb. And the last one, no. see, and we'll also more. Used to and would is usually contracted to D in spoken English. Which one? Used to or would? Of course, would is contracted to D. As you see here, we'd learn about the stars. Or we would is also possible if you want to emphasize. And the last one is here now. The negative and question form of used to is used to. Just like in past simple tense. When we use did in the sentence, we don't say used to again. As you can see, alright, it was in the audio script. It was saying I didn't used to like blah blah. So didn't used to. Okay, let's move on. When we talk about things that happened in the past repeatedly but don't happen anymore, we can use used to, would, and not important. But we use used to, as you see here, to talk about past actions. Used to go swimming, didn't used to smoke. Smoke and go are action verbs. We can also use used to with state verbs, as you see in the instances. Used to live and didn't used to be. Be and live are state verbs. On the contrary, would, as you see here, can be used to talk about repeated past actions. Again, action verb. But the difference we're going to see. Okay, before difference, similarity. We can use both of them to talk about past actions. Or, in these examples, would take, used to take. Past actions. However, when it comes to state verbs, we cannot prefer would. As you see here, live and have are both state verbs. And with state verbs, we use used to. We used to live in New York or didn't used to have plenty of money. With these, I cannot use would. As you see here in the rule. When I was a kid, we went to Disneyland every summer. When I was a kid, we used to or would go to Disneyland every summer. Both of them are possible because go is an action verb. Okay, repeated past action. Nice. We went to Disneyland in 1996. Now, is it repeated or did this event happen only once in the past? Okay. Can we say we used to go to Disneyland in 1996 or we would? No way, because this sentence shows me that the event happened only once in the past, not repeated. Because of the time expression in 1996, I understand that it didn't happen repeatedly. Great. As you see here. Now, some examples. Let's start with our gorgeous school. Denge Eğitim Bilsan Anatolian High School didn't used to be a high school, but it used to be a cafe called Budakaltı. So here I use verb be, and be, as you know, is a state verb. For that reason, can I say wouldn't or would here? No, of course not. Let's move on. This is the transport that the Indian use? But which means of transport would the Indian use? Or which means of transport did the Indian used to use? As you see here, use is an action verb. I can use both of them. In the answer, the Indian used to travel or would travel by handcarts, called human-pulled rickshaws, as you see in the second photo. So in the first photo, the transport vehicle, but the current one. In the second one, you know, in the past, they used to use it. You know him? Uraz Kaygılaroğlu. Okay. He used to weigh over 100 kilos, but now he lost weight. Instead of used to, I cannot say would here because weigh is a state verb. Okay? Nice. Did people used to play games on laptop computers or Commodores? Commodore is a kind of home computer, as you can see in the second photo. Would people play games on laptop computers or Commodores? So we can use would and used to with both because play is an action verb. I didn't used to have blonde hair. My hair used to be ginger. So have and be are both state verbs. For that reason, I cannot use would with these. Which one is right? For the first two, for the first pair. I didn't used to run or I didn't used to run. Okay, it's very clear, right? The first. Did you used to play in a band or did you used to play in a band? It's so hard to say, so we're going to choose the first again. You are great. Now, your assignment is to write 5 sentences using your own past habits, okay? And of course, you're going to use used to or would, but be careful with the state verb and the action verb. I'll check them in class. See you around. Bye-bye.